Welcome back to my channel, or to my channel if you are new here. My name is Haley and I make videos about books. I talk about books. I love books. Books are my life, if you will. And today is no different. We're going to be talking about books and reading books, and it's going to be a fun time. And yeah, so let's get into what this video is, because essentially it is just reading down my physical TBR. The majority of my TBR is behind me, but these are also books that I have read, and I also have some books over here on this side and some books on this side. And so to speak, I have a lot of books. And as it stands, 3/5 of my books that I own are unread. I have quite a few books that I have just accumulated over the past few years that I just haven't read because I have not been reading them as fast as I have been buying them and acquiring them. And it is time to right my wrongs and read down my shelves. Because essentially the whole thing with this is just to read my physical TBR. A lot of people make these videos on YouTube. It is not just me. I, however, am doing it slightly different because I don't want to do it the same as everybody else. So the idea for this video and this series is we're going to be basically balancing my shelves. So for each video we're gonna have to do a little bit of math, which is not the best thing, but it is important. So how this is gonna work is I'm gonna take the books that I have bought in the previous month, so for this case it would be March, and I am looking at how many books I have on my physical TBR that I have already read for March. So we're gonna subtract the amount bought by the amount read in March. Then in April, or in this video, we will be reading the amount that we get from that. So the way that I'm thinking about doing this, however, is going to be different depending on the video. So one video I could be using a spinner wheel, another video I could be reading the shortest books on my TBR, another video I could be reading my monthly TBR, whatever it may be. And that's how we're going to do this. Picking prompts from a jar, picking the books from a jar, you get it. That's how it's going to work. If I get to a month where I have a negative amount of numbers, which probably won't happen, but if it does, I think at that point we celebrate, first of all, and second of all, we figure out something else. Another stipulation that I'm putting on myself is for the month that I am filming in, if I have already read a book or two from my physical TBR, like I have this month, those don't count in this video. I still have to read the amount that I have left after subtracting the amount that I read in the previous month by the amount bought in the previous month, if that makes sense. I hope this is all making sense. I don't know how well I'm explaining it, and I'm really just hoping that this just works out. So with that being said, let's talk about my stats for March. In the month of March, I bought 11 books and I read 6 books. So that would take my total down to 5 books that I would have to read in this video. I have already read almost 2 books. I'm in the middle of one off of my physical TBR this month, but those don't count, so I still have to read the 5 books for this video regardless. To start this series off with like a bang and not feel like this is a disastrous idea on my part, I'm gonna start off with a spinner wheel for this video. And I have all of my shelves on this spinner wheel from 1 through 18. So 1 starting here, and then we're going this way, and then we're going down, and we're going this way, and we're going down, and we're going this way. So I have 15 shelves behind me. This top shelf right here doesn't count because these are like my favorites, and then I have some writing nonfiction books over here, so those don't count. And then I have my classics, which is gonna be shelf 16. And then we're gonna go over here, and this is gonna be 17 for my monthly TBR. And then I have my oldest books on my TBR and my 25 and 2025 that I own on a shelf together, and that's going to be shelf 18. I feel like this is a lot, so just bear with me because I don't even know if I'm making sense, but I'm hoping that I am. We're first going to get on the spinner wheel, pick the shelf, and then I'm gonna pick the book that I feel like I'm going to enjoy the most in this current moment because I am a mood reader, and we're gonna read that until I get to 5 books in this video. So let's go. I think this is gonna be fun. I feel confident about this. I feel like we're gonna have a good time. I am recording my screen now, and we're going to spin the wheel and hope for something good. Shelf 2. Oh, that's fun. So this is literally right behind me. And I'm going to kind of bring you closer so you can see real quick. Out of this shelf, I haven't read House of Leaves. I'm going to pull off just the ones I haven't read. We're not going to count Bleach Volume 70. We also have Bridge to Terabithia and Human Acts and Paris to the Moon and All My Rage. All of these are on my spring TBR too. So I'm not sure what to do. I just don't want to tackle House of Leaves right now. That's not something that seems enjoyable to me, but also like I know I need to read that, but I'm not doing that right now. So for the first book that I'm going to pick up, I'm going to pick up All My Rage. I just read Eleanor and Park. I feel very confident about saying that I am in the mood for YA, which I can't say for certain is the case with every other book that I have been picking up. So we're gonna go with All My Rage and I'm gonna read it. I know nothing really about this right now, so I will update you when I know more, but I'm very excited to get into this and read it. I was editing clips from a previous video that I did. I do not know why my camera looks tilted. I don't understand. The little thing on it that like shows you the level of it, it's fine. I don't understand. Is it the shelves? My room might go downhill. I live in an old house. The floors are not even, so maybe that's what it is, but I just don't understand. So I gotta play around with that a little bit, but that's besides the point. I wanted to update you about All My Rage. I am now over 60% into it, and I'm really enjoying it. So let's talk about what this is about so that we can talk about how I'm enjoying it. So All My Rage is following 3 different points of view. So we're following 2 characters who are in like present day in this story, and they are high school seniors, and it's kind of just the typical things that you deal with and the typical themes that you see in YA. We're talking about financial struggles, we're talking about college and romance and family life and that type of stuff. This is a very deep type of book. There's a lot of sensitive themes. It's definitely something that you need to look into before you go into this. There is kind of like a warning at the beginning of the book. Then the third point of view is one of our characters, Sal. It's his mom's point of view in the past. So you're getting her point of view throughout the years of her finding her husband and then moving to the US, and they open an inn and she has him, and that is kind of where I am at as far as her point of view. They're kind of just spread throughout the book. I think that out of the YA books that I have read, this is top in that category. While we're here though, I am gonna go ahead and get my other book because I plan on finishing that today, and while that's the case, I want to go ahead and get my other book. Quick message, if I get the second bookshelf again, I'm going to respin because I don't want to read from the same bookshelf 2 times in a row, or really I think 2 times in the same video. So hopefully we don't get that. I don't think we will, but we have a 1 in 18th chance. It is a lower number. 4. Okay, so that's this shelf over here. This is like my pink and red shelf. So I gotta move you guys so that you can see. I'm really utilizing the zoom function on this. So out of this, I'm gonna stand behind the camera and kind of just look through the viewfinder. Out of these books, I haven't read Sweet Bitter, I haven't read Please Don't Sit on My Bed, In Your Outside Clothes, I haven't read Soldier Sailor, I haven't read The Date from Hell, I haven't read Murder by Cheesecake. I'm not reading Perfect because that's part of a series. I haven't read Puck and Prejudice, Far from the Tree. I haven't read Mrs. Everything. I haven't read The Boy on the bridge, but that's part of a series. I haven't read Lessons in Chemistry, and you can't really see it because of this angle. You can't really see the boy on the bridge either. But I also have Simple Favor. Neither one of those I'm reading, I know for sure, so I'm not really worried about it. Out of that shelf, these are the books that I am most interested in reading right at this moment. So, I think I'm gonna hold off on Lessons in Chemistry. I don't know. This just seems like a not daunting task, but not something that I'm absolutely in love with the idea of reading right now. But I also can't say that I'm in love with the idea of reading either one of these books either right now. Both of these make more sense for me to pick up right now. So this is a romance, obviously. And then this is a literary fiction. I don't really know much about this. This is about a mom and she's like trying to find herself. I don't know if I want to read that right now. I think I'm gonna pick this up. This is a book that has to do with time travel, I'm pretty sure. Somehow one of the characters, I'm thinking he gets sent to the 1800s and meets her. After further consideration, I am gonna go with this. This seems like the best option for me right now. I don't know. It just, I feel like I'm kind of in the mood for a romance. I feel like this could be a fun time. And sometimes that's all you need, right? Just a fun, goofy little time. And I think that this could be it. So that's what we're going to go with. I have not heard anybody talk about this book. I did get it as an ARC. Hasn't been out for a while. Yes. It's fairly short too. So I'm going to have a good time with this, I think. So this is what we're going with, Puck and Prejudice, and I'll update you when I finish actually All My Rage first. Out of that shelf, these are the books that I am most interested in reading right at this moment. So, I think I'm gonna hold off on Lessons in Chemistry. I don't know. This just seems like a not daunting task, but not something that I'm absolutely in love with the idea of reading right now. But I also can't say that I'm in love with the idea of reading either one of these books either right now. Both of these make more sense for me to pick up right now. So this is a romance, obviously. And then this is a literary fiction. I don't really know much about this. This is about a mom and she's like trying to find herself. I don't know if I want to read that right now. So maybe this. Should I pick this up? I think I'm gonna pick this up. This is a book that has to do with time travel, I'm pretty sure. Somehow one of the characters, I'm thinking he gets sent to the 1800s and meets her. After further consideration, I am gonna go with this. This seems like the best option for me right now. I don't know. It just, I feel like I'm kind of in the mood for a romance. I feel like this could be a fun time. And sometimes that's all you need. I have not heard anybody talk about this book. I did get it as an ARC. Hasn't been out for a while. Yes. So let's talk about All My Rage. It's been a couple days since I finished this book. And I have so many thoughts. This book was so good. I keep thinking about it. I finished it yesterday. I really took my time with this book and I'm super glad that I did. But this is also the type of book that I could have ate up in one day. The thing is that I wish I had read this sooner. This book feels like it could have replaced I'll Give You the Sun to me. Like, if I had read this book instead of I'll Give You the Sun at the time that I read I'll Give You the Sun, then I think this book would have replaced it. It's just, that was the type of book that I needed at the time when I read it, and I'll Give You the Sun happened to be that book. But if All My Rage was that book, then it would have been my all-time favorite. I loved every second of it. I want to reread this multiple times in my life. I love it. This was just such a good book to start off the video with, and I don't know how we're gonna go up from here, you know? And now let's talk about this book. This is such a random book to go to after All My Rage, but I feel like this is a little bit more lighthearted than all my rage, and that's what I needed more than anything. I'm having a good time with it. I have been kind of just picking it up and reading a couple pages here and there. This book hasn't really held my attention where I've just been like, I need to binge read this. I need to read all of it in one setting. I have not gotten there yet, and I'm hoping I do today because that's all I want to do. I want to finish this today. So Pluck and Prejudice is following our two main characters, Tucker and Lizzie. What happens in the first chapter is Tuck is driving back to where he's staying. He's currently in England with his sister because he has been put on medical leave from hockey, which is his job. He ends up running off of the road and into a pond. This is a frozen pond. He sinks and he is trying to get out, and before he gets out, he kind of fades to black. We don't really know what's happened to him. We don't know if he's actually alive or what has happened. Then we get Lizzie's first chapter right after that, and she is kind of walking down the road. She is in her head talking about the fact that she doesn't want to get married, but her mom is kind of making her. It's kind of with the time period, you know? She is thinking all of this in her head, and then she hears a noise and she's like, what's happening? She goes to this pond and there's Tucker. He is now in 1812, and why is he there? You know, that's the big mystery. Something that I didn't know, even though it says it on the back, is that this is a marriage of convenience romance. So they end up getting married for the sake of really Lizzie, because she's like, I don't want to get married to a man. I want to have freedom, you know? I want to write. I want to live my life. And if I'm married, that's not going to happen. Essentially, her goal is to marry a man who will die fast so that she can inherit his money and live freely, because that's what her cousin did. Then Tucker comes along, and not Lizzie, but her cousin and Jane Austen, because she is in this book, as the title may lead you to believe this is inspired by Jane Austen. They come up with this idea for them to get married because he needs to kind of be out and about for the sake of figuring out how to get home, and she needs to get married. And so their idea is when he ends up going back to his time period, they'll just be like, yeah, sorry, he's not here, you know, he died at sea or whatever. And that's the plan. That is their plan. And is it kind of terrible? Yes. Is it gonna work? Most likely not, but they believe it will. And that's as far as I've really gotten. I'm having a really good time with this. I need to like sit down and focus on it. And so that's what I'm planning on doing after I film this. But I wanted to get this clip filmed and let you know what I'm thinking. And like I said, I'm gonna try to finish this today. First and foremost, his nickname for her, I could do without it. You can stop. It's just, 9 times out of 10, a romance book is bad for me when the nickname is stupid. Like, you don't need it. You don't need this absolutely absurd nickname for her or him, but most of the time it's her. And I'm just like, no, you can stop. It's cringy. This one, his nickname for her is Pocket Rocket. There was a scene where they first met, and that was like mentioned. I don't know what it was. I don't know what we were talking about, but he mentioned it, and now that's his nickname for her. Besides that, the book is actually fun. It is ridiculous. Sue me for having a fun time. But this is not a great piece of literature. It's not a great book in general. It is definitely the type of book that you would, no hate, get off of TikTok, and you would be like, I'm gonna read that. This book is not great in any capacity, but is it a fun time? Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the next book, because after I do finish this book, I probably will read some more tonight. What if I move this? That did not help at all. I'm hoping for something good. I'm hoping for something fun. Oh. Oh, fuck. No, bro. I'm not reading a classic. Do I gotta do that? I don't want to. Oh, no. That's not something I want to do right now. Am I being slightly dramatic right now? Sure, maybe. Okay, here's the thing. I like classics. I'll read classics from time to time. I have a wide variety of classics. With that being said though, I don't read them that often. Out of all the books on my shelves, if I were to put them all into different genres, I think like percentage wise, my classics would be the most that I have and the least that I've read. And you would think that's good because it means like I have a lot of variety, I have a lot of choices, a lot of options, but I don't want to read these books. These are my classics. I have these right here. So somewhere right here, The Glass Menagerie, I think, and over, these are all red books, okay? And then these, that's Jimin, ignore him. These are all unread. Besides the Odyssey, I read that in school, but I kind of still don't know if I would consider it read. And then I have all these. We're not reading East of Eden or The Innocents Abroad or Sophie's Choice. Not even The Castle, even though that's probably one of the more interesting ones that I would be interested in. And then I have all these. There's some flipped. Those are books that I need to read soon. And then I have these right here and then those down there. So I have quite a few options. So I'm going to pull some and then we'll talk about them. I feel like this has gotten absolutely chaotic, but we're just going to roll with it. I've chosen a wide variety of books. So let me kind of talk through some of my ideas and try not to yap too much. I have The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I started reading this. I had an existential crisis. I stopped reading this, and I would still be intrigued in reading it. But I just don't know if mentally I am there. I feel like I'm fine. I feel like I could read it. I don't know. Then I have this, the 3 Theban plays, I think is how you pronounce it. I read the first one, Antigone or Antigone. I don't know how you pronounce it. And I still have the other 2. I, as you can tell, read through the first one. So this is a good option. And maybe just read the next play. I'm just not sure if I want to read a play right now. And that's just not intriguing me too much. So that's probably like a no, right? The Picture of Dorian Gray. This, I have made a good portion through it. And I could see myself continuing to read this. Like, this is a high possibility. A lot of people love this. I was really enjoying it when I was reading it, and then I put it down for whatever reason and I just didn't pick it back up. And then I have The Stranger, another book that I started and I only got a couple pages into it, but I could see myself picking this back up, but probably not right now. That's not right now. I decided. The Symposium, Play-Doh, just because it's short. It's just short, and I was like, maybe. I gotta look into seeing what that's about. So that's a maybe. The next book is The Canterville Ghost. This is another Oscar Wilde. So, I don't know. This one also, just because it's short. I also wanted to read it around Halloween time, and I didn't. So maybe also, let me look into what that's about as well. Then I have The Leopard. This is part of my spring TBR. I've had this book for a while. I actually kind of just picked it up on a whim, but it's getting turned into a movie this year, or a TV show. I'm pretty sure it's a movie, and I would be intrigued in reading this as of right now. The Secret Garden. This is also part of my spring TBR. It's fairly short. Like, I could easily get through this. Do I really want to read it right now? No. So this is probably a no. See, this is why I like talking through these things, because then you guys can help me decide. But really, it's just me talking to myself and me deciding. But it helps. So thank you for that. The next book, Of Mice and Men. Once again, this is a short book. I don't know nothing about it. Also part of my spring TBR. So maybe this... How big are the words? Ooh, the words are kind of small. And whoever had this before me did annotate it. I love that for them. And I am going to be nosy and read those when I get to that point. Blue was a choice though, I will say. Then we have Lord of Flies, only because I am almost done with this. You can see at the top kind of where I'm at. I don't know though, because I started this with my brother and we were supposed to read it independently and finish it up, and we just didn't. I know he hasn't, so I don't know if I'm gonna read this. But that's a maybe as well. And then the last two are S.E. Hinton books. This is Rumblefish, and then this is That Was Then, This Is Now. I know there's a movie to this. Actually, I think there's a movie to both of them. I want to watch the movie for this. So this is why I was like, maybe these, but I don't know what either one of these are about. But I'm going to assume that they're similar to The Outsiders, which I have read, I have really enjoyed and loved. So these are also options, but I'm just not really sure. So I'm going to read through these and maybe make a decision from there. But you did help me knock 3. You're not really helpful. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm trying to figure it out, okay? I'm indecisive. I need help. I'm back. I have updates and I'm choosing the Symposium. I feel like this is gonna be a fun time. First of all, it's short, but also I just feel like I'll have to annotate and just make a fun experience out of this. So I am choosing the Symposium for book number 3, but I'm gonna physically read this, I think, and because of that, I need an audiobook. So I'm gonna finish Puck and Prejudice, and I was like, I'll probably move to the Symposium, but what do I want? You know, I feel like I need an audiobook. I think I'm gonna go ahead and spin for book 4 and get that book. So for book number, okay, I can work with this. Shelf number 18. We're gonna go over here. It's bad lighting, but you have to see it. So you're coming with me and we're gonna go over here to shelf 18. So this is shelf 18. The front books are self-destructing TBR books that have been self-destructing for the last 3 years, and they just need to be read. So I know from here that I can read quite a few books on audio. It's just the choice of whether I want to. I can definitely see myself reading A Thousand Splendid Suns. I just read The Kite Runner not too long ago. I really enjoyed that. And then also Educated is another one that I could definitely see myself reading on audio and really enjoying, but I'm not really sure. And then also Girls Burn Brighter, I could see myself reading on audio and really enjoying. Now we have the back that we can talk about. These books right here are part of my 25 and 2025 that I own. Let me move Calcifer so you can see a little bit better. Out of these, I don't want to read any of these right now, and I also don't want to listen to any of them on audio. So we're not even really going to discuss these. They're just going to kind of stay in the back. And we're definitely going to choose from the self-destructing pile. Out of the 3 books that I chose, I don't think I'm going to go with A Thousand Splendid Suns or Girls Burn Brighter right now, because both of these seem like they're going to make me cry. And I don't want that. Honestly, Educated could possibly do that as well, but I just don't see a nonfiction making me cry. I don't think I've ever cried at a nonfiction. Maybe that's a lie, but I just feel like this is the one that I should read right now. All I know about this book is that it's a memoir following the author and her life as she was raised off the grid and then basically had no education and then ended up going to college and living a normal life, quote unquote normal life. So I don't know how well I'm gonna love this, but I am very intrigued in it. A lot of people talk about this book. This is definitely a widely popular book. I think I got this at Half Price Books for like $2 or something. It was an insane deal that I got, I remember, on this. That's the only reason why I have it, because it was like, I heard about this, guys. I got to read it. And at that point, I really didn't read memoirs. I didn't read nonfiction. And so it's just been sitting on my shelves. So I'm gonna get to this first out of the other books, and hopefully I enjoy it. I'm not like super proud of this. I'm not like in love with either one of these choices, but it is what it is, and I'm hoping that that will change, you know? But I guess that's also kind of the point of this challenge, because if I wanted to read them right now, then they would be on my monthly TBR shelf, which is part of this challenge, but obviously that's a 1 in 18 chance of getting that shelf. Something else that I wanted to yap about with this book though, because I don't know who said it, I'm sure it was a TikTok that I saw and somebody had talked about it, but the fact that this takes place in 1800s and they were talking about like Bridgerton or something like that, and the idea that they didn't shower they didn't shower then, and I can't, as I'm reading this, I'm just like, yeah, you know what, they didn't really shower that much, and that is questionable under a lot of circumstances, but especially when it comes to a romance book and you're getting romance scenes and you're sitting here and you're like, and that's questionable and really takes you out of the book when you really think about it. And he's just over here, also on top of it, he's just over here and he's like, I've never met a woman like her. She's so special and brilliant, and she's so outspoken, and whatever he says. And I'm just sitting here, I was like, for her time period, yeah, for her time period, but so you're from like the 2020s, you know, maybe just think about the fact that that's not the case in current time periods. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I was like, she's not one of a kind, dude. You're just in a different time period and she happened to be there. And I just cannot for the life of me fathom anything that's happening in this. Like, this feels like, you know, I read Fever Dream. Where is it? Because I could talk about it. I mean, I'm not talking about it, but I read Fever Dream and I was like, when I was reviewing it in my wrap up, I was like, yeah, this feels like a fever dream. Yeah, for sure. No, this is a fever dream. It has been quite a few days since I have updated you, and I've been reading. I just haven't been reading a lot each day, and I am kind of done with one of the books. First and foremost, I am over halfway through Educated. I am really enjoying this book. It's definitely something that I'm taking my time with, and I'm having a good time reading it. It's just not something that I want to read super fast, but I do think I'm gonna kind of wrap it up either today or tomorrow. There's so many times where I have to remind myself that this book is nonfiction. It's so bizarre when you really think about it, the fact that, like, logically, you know, people live different lives than you. You know that different things happen to different people, and I think that's one of just the things that I love about reading, is the fact that you can really explore different cultures, different lifestyles than yours based off of just reading a book, you know? Especially ones that you would never get exposed to otherwise, really. Especially, like, you know, before the internet. The way that this book is just, it's so well done. And I don't have to tell you this because every single person that I've ever seen talk about this book has said so. Otherwise, I don't really have anything else to really say about this. There's no critiques. There's nothing that I should really even be critiquing, because this is somebody's like personal experience. And so I'm not critiquing it. I'm going to continue this, but here's the thing. However, and some of you might have even seen earlier in the video when I picked this book and went, what are you thinking? The problem was I wasn't thinking. The problem is I don't know how to think, really, because the Symposium is, it's not, what's the word? I'm not hating it. I just don't care. And this specific episode is about picking up books that I want to read. And on top of that, I don't want to burn myself out from reading by reading books that I don't want to read right now. So I am putting this down and we're going to get another book. I'm not exactly sure what though, and I need to make that decision today. So that will be determined later, but it is still going to come from that shelf right there. That's my classics. I'm not changing that, of course, but it's just not going to be this, you know. At first when I picked this up, I skipped the introduction, mainly because I don't really ever read introductions in books. And then I decided to go back and read it after I'm reading this, and I'm like, I actually don't know nothing about Greek life. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what's happening. So I did go back and I read some of it, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. And then I started reading it again. And it's not that the confusion is what I didn't like. I don't want to read this. I don't really have no other like explanation. It's not even a long book at all. The actual text is less than 100 pages. It's just I don't want to read it. I'm gonna wait to pick the 5th book until I finish both Educated and whatever else I end up picking up. And then I'll come back and probably update you tomorrow or the next day. It has been a couple days since I've talked to you, but I do have updates. I should have actually updated you yesterday, to be fair, but I didn't feel like it. I got sunburnt and I spent literally all day yesterday in bed, and I don't regret that. But I have updates. First and foremost, I finished Educated. This is such a good book. If I was rating this book, it would be like a 4.5, 5-star. It's just so good. It's definitely not overrated. I thought that it was going to be. It definitely is not. There's not much that I haven't already said about this that I need to say. So just know that it was really good, and I'm glad that I finally got it off of my physical TBR. It's been over a week or close to it that I haven't even filmed for this video, and so I'm not exactly sure when I talked about it, but I ended up putting down the Symposium. It's not for me right now. I don't know if it ever will be, but I am going to keep it on my physical TBR for now. But I did end up picking up That Was Then, This Is Now. This is the second S.E. Hinton book that I've read. The thing about S.E. Hinton's writing is that it feels just so simple, and it's definitely the type of writing that makes sense that you would like read The Outsiders in school, because it makes sense. It's very easy to pick up on and read. However, it's not outstanding. There's nothing about this that I would say is like absolutely outstanding, but for some reason I just feel like this is going to be the type of book that I'm going to continue to think about for a while, or like return to and think about, and I really love that, you know. This book is really just following our narrator Brian and his life in his late teens as he is grappling with growing up and distancing himself from his best friend, who he literally considers like a brother. Like, he lives with them. They've just always been together, and he is just dealing with the fact that they are distancing from each other. And then on top of that, Brian is in a relationship, and he is finally kind of just like growing up. And the thing is with S.E. Hinton's writing is just, she knows how to write books and leave out extravagant details. It's very simple, it's very to the point, and it just works so well. And I'm glad that I picked this up. That's that. I don't really have much else to say as far as those books go. So we're gonna choose my 5th and final book for this video, which is super exciting. 1, so I can wrap up this video and start another one, and 2, because then my shelves will be balanced, and that's what we need, you know? So I'm gonna record my screen real quick, and we are off, and I'm gonna spin the wheel. I'm hoping, actually I don't know what I'm hoping for. I actually just don't know. I'm not 14. I'm gonna just pull them off because it's literally the bottom shelf down here, and it's a mess, and I don't know how I'm gonna film down there. So I'm just gonna pull them off and we'll go from there. I only have Stephen King books on this shelf that I can read. So this is where I start to hate myself and this challenge and everything it stands for. And I don't really love that. I know for sure I'm not gonna read The Gunslinger or Wizard and Glass. Okay, those are the only 2 that I know for sure that I'm not picking up. My thing is I don't know if Stephen King is for me. I have read it halfway through and I DNF'd that. And then I read Carrie and that was just okay. I just don't know how much I love him. The only reason why I have so many Stephen King books is because I got them for free from someone. And so I have like a whole collection of Stephen King, but I don't know how much I care to read his books. I don't know. Let me read some synopsises. I don't think I want to read The Green Mile. Yeah, I'm not reading The Green Mile. Dolores Claiborne is a solid contender. So I'm going to put this, okay, so this is my no stack. This is my yes stack. Or maybe stack, I guess, really. Lizzie's Story also seems like something that I would maybe want to read. So both of those I'm okay with. The Dead Zone, however, I could maybe see myself reading this too. Nightmares and Dreamscapes. First of all, this is really freaking long. I don't know how much I want to read this right now. I do really love this cover though, and I am really intrigued by the cover alone. However, I don't know nothing about this book. Oh, is this part of a series? Oh, is it a collection of stories? Oh, it's a collection of stories. Well, that makes it a lot less intimidating. But I still don't think I'm going to pick this up. Yeah, this is not something I'm going to pick up right now. But does make it a lot more intriguing to me. No to that. Then I have Thinner. This is one of his more earlier books. I don't know how much I love the idea of reading this book. I think that synopsis seems ridiculous, which is fine, but not what I'm looking for right now. And then Cujo is the last one. Yeah, I'm not really in love with the idea of reading this either right now. I don't know if I'll ever be in the mood to read Cujo. That just, I don't know, seems ridiculous. So, I'm gonna try these three. The Dead Zone, Lizzie's Story, and Dolores Claiborne, and see which one I like the most, because I'm just not sure exactly which one I'm gonna be the most intrigued by. But out of the synopsises, these are the three that feel the most intriguing to me right now. I feel like I've been just so out of it lately, and I haven't really been filming, but I do have updates. I'm over halfway through Dolores Claiborne, and tell me why I'm actually enjoying this. I had low hopes, you know, going into this after reading 2 Stephen King books. They just weren't absolutely fantastic to me and not something that I absolutely loved. And I was a little nervous, but I went with my gut and I went with the stories that felt the most intriguing to me. And maybe that is more up my alley because I am enjoying this, dare I say. Let's backtrack though and talk about what this is about. So Dolores Claiborne is basically this stream of conscious type of book where you're following Dolores. So she has been detained by the cops, and this book is literally starting out with her being detained, and she is telling her story. And this book, there's no chapters, which I found like a really interesting choice at the beginning, and I was like, I don't know if I love this, but it's working for me. So you're constantly just hearing from Dolores and her recounting her life basically. She's talking about her husband, and she's talking about her children, and she's talking about the woman who ended up dying, who she is like basically a suspect for murdering. And so she was the caregiver to this rich woman named Vera, and she is trying to basically make herself not guilty. Would anybody like to guess how long it has been since I filmed for this video? Because it's been a while. And I thought that I had already filmed an outro. I thought I had updated you on everything. I did not. So I came on here to talk to you guys and update you about Dolores Claiborne and also all of the books in general. So let's talk about it. First and foremost, Dolores Claiborne was a win overall. I think I would give it like a 4.5 if I had to rate it. This is by far my favorite Stephen King book, and the clip where I was originally talking about it, first of all, I don't know what I was doing that day, but I was a mess overall and it wasn't making sense what I was saying, but this book is just so good. This book by far is the only book that I have read that I can think of at least that does this style of writing where you're following Dolores and she's just yapping and talking, and you're not getting like the replies of other people as far as the conversations that she's having with these police specifically. For instance, she'll ask for a glass of water from one of the detectives and you won't hear the replies. You do not hear from the detectives at all in this book, which I find really interesting and such a interesting writing choice that I really love. Something else that I really love in this book is the relationship between Dolores and Vera, who is her employer, and the way that they interact. Like, it's very much a relationship that feels authentic. Like, I can't say that for every single relationship in this book, but hers and Vera's feels so authentic and so complex and really drives the story. Dolores is also a really interesting character to be in the head of. I don't know how else to put it. The way that Stephen King writes dialect is such an amazing thing because out of everything it feels real. I remember when I was reading it and the way that the character of, is it Billy? The character that has a stutter in it's so good. The way that you can see that on the page. For example, it's not like Billy stutters, "I'm going to the store." He very much puts the stutter in the dialogue. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. I love when authors do that because it makes the characters feel more authentic, and Stephen King, out of every author that I have read from, does it really well. And so Dolores and her accent and her dialect, it's very prevalent in this book. And something that I found, because I was reading both this on audiobook and physically, that when I was reading it physically, I could still pick up on what Dolores sounded like because of her dialect and the way that she spoke in this book. And it's so well done. I'm really glad though that I picked this book up, and I think that this is probably one of the top books that I read in this video, but I read quite a few good books in this video, so let's talk about all of them. In this video total, I read 5 books. I had previously read 6 books, and so adding those other 5 made it where I balanced the amount of books bought in March. So essentially I brought in 11 books in March and I read 11 books. So I am good to go as far as that goes. So the books that I did end up picking up in this, just as a reminder, I read All My Rage. This was fantastic. I absolutely love it, and a really solid YA contemporary novel. And then I read Educated, which is an incredible memoir. It's an incredible book altogether. Definitely one of my favorite nonfiction books that I've read, but to be fair, I have not read a lot. The next book is obviously Dolores Claiborne. I am really glad that I read another Stephen King, and this one was actually a winner. And then the next book after that, these are not in order by the way, is Pride and Prejudice. I think that this was a ridiculous romance book. I think that I will never recommend this book, but it was a fun time, and that's what I wanted more than anything at the time, and that's what I definitely got, was a fun, silly time. It was just a silly, goofy time, and I love that for me, and I love that for this book, I guess, but don't read it. It's not worth it. And then the last book is That Was Then, This Is Now. This book was so simplistic, and it was a short, quick read that was impactful and definitely worth the time to read it as well. So with that being said, that is the 5 books that I read in this video, and I will catch you on the flip side, my friends, because next week I'm reading series that I am in the middle of, and spoiler, it went pretty well for the most part, I would say, but a lot of YA.